Good morning. Happy Monday. So, little turn here. Makes sense. Could have had the gap down this morning on a Monday. You don't know. After Friday was a pretty bout of selling right into the close, but sticking to our method. Two situations or scenarios. Waterfall decline into the 50 MA area, looking at the futures here, or the potential for at least stabilization based on the concept of a greater than 100% retracement. So we've gotten the latter. We had the move up, we had the measured move, and in 2020 hindsight, that breakout that failed resulted in a pullback. Now, the interesting part of last week, and it's somewhat surprising, and this really doesn't tell the story to Friday, we look at SPX or SPY. Well, actually on this day, I think it was this day, that it actually gapped up. Where if they had that bear reversal day there on the pullback and bottoming tail that took out the high, and then that nasty move down, which looked like a no-brainer to the downside, but Mr. Schizophrenic sure didn't make it a no-brainer with the gap up. And so when the markets didn't rally sufficiently enough, they went down and they sold off into the close, and pretty bearish pattern taking out the prior low. In the futures anyway, it took out major support. So this is no longer in an uptrend. It's violated that by taking out major support. That's black and white. So we did get a range expansion type of a bar, similar to a wide range bar. After multiple moves down, you historically get some stabilization. And that's what we're getting right now. So the question is, how far does it go? Well, next step is look to the left. And so we see where it's coming up to, this swing high right here. Does it stop right there? I'm not so sure it will. We'll all know when it gets there, but it's only a minor stopping point. And because of the way things went down, there's a void in this wide range bar. And so we know all wide range bars have voids in them because they're multiple bar moves in a smaller time frame, where they might leave some small area of resistance with a big red bar or support in a green bar. We have to look inside smaller time frames. So as we can see, this is moving up. Buyers on pullbacks here. No sign of a turn yet. And maybe it's got to get up to this point, and then what we'll look for on a smaller time frame would be some type of a topping pattern here where it begins to roll over. Or does it go, this market go all the way back up to the top of the bar? Now, if it does, that would be, I can't say amazing, because this market is kind of amazing on the buy the dip scenarios and to retrace such a bar like this. But what does it do when it gets there? And so no sign of buyers stepping away for the moment. All right, so let's take a look at SPY and SPX. This is moving up, and SPY. So this was the odd part, if you will, that it had such a bearish reversal day, and then it gapped up on Friday. I'd say, well, it's to suck in the last of the buyers, but this is or was in an uptrend. So that gap up could have stabilized and then continued to go higher. It didn't. It gapped up and it jiggled a little bit. You can see here's the open, and then it went up a little bit and then just collapsed. And then as it came down here, well, in the afternoon, I couldn't take advantage of it. By the way, let me mention, I couldn't take advantage of it because my system and interactive brokers was locked up, and some people had issues and some didn't. But what I found this morning, it was locked up, and IB didn't answer my ticket, but I decided to remove Chrome from the computer, and lo and behold, that daily lineup that it gives you every day went away, and it was unlocked. So it's working now, and Chrome caused the problem. I don't know if I'll reinstall it, but Anyway, it's an FYI for those of you that use IB. If you're having that issue, remove Chrome. So we've got them here at 448.5, coming up to the 20 MA. And can it get all the way up to 45, 450? I guess we're going to see. There's that same little edge right there on the 60-minute chart, but a wall of resistance to some degree. And I'll explain this concept of, voids and these kind of topping patterns where we look at, these areas here as being very significant. In reality, this low here, it traded above and below. And, it's really got, other than this little shelf right here, it's kind of got a clear move, but it's to be seen whether it can get through that level. How aggressive are the buyers going to be? And at the end of the day, will we see a negating of this red bar? We've seen it before. So while it seems unlikely at the moment, we'll see. Diamonds, put spread, I'll take a look. 337. For Friday. You know what, McGraw, it's interesting that you asked me that, because I was looking at SPX and thinking, the premiums are so far low. If you're willing to take the risk of the end of the week and the options expiration and all that on SPX, man, I think, 337 seems like impossible. Nothing's impossible to go down there, but that would be a gigantic move. And percentage wise, even from last week down to 337, let's say, take that. That's a 5% move, which this market's been moving recently it's been moving 3% and corrections. That would be a 5% and down near this pivot. So that's so far extreme. Whether you want to do it today or not, that's another story as to whether, it continues lower this week. But it's something I was even looking at with SPX, because there was you're going out to the end of the week, there was premium way down here. And is it going down there? I would say 99.9% it isn't going down there, not this week. So on the downside today, depending on how aggressive you want to get, there's a little bit of premium down at 34.95. I would, and I always look at these things as no-brainers on the day. You're not getting much premium, but anywhere between 34.95 and 405 would be as far as I would go. That's about my risk tolerance. Obviously, there's going to be premiums up above here, but you've got open interest at these staggered levels. 50, 25, 4,400. And so the further down you go, the greater the probability that you get to keep the money. And on the upside, I don't think it's just worth it, because it's gapping up, and you have to go pretty close to up here. Notes. I would just forget that side. I'd wait for the dip in the morning, right, wherever it dips from, and then look for those lower levels down there. Right. 42.50 for Friday. Look, you've got enough lines of defense to consider that trade. This month, seasonality, do we think of that? I think you have to. Getting a bit of a bounce here this morning, and Q's up nicely, 100 points. And so to go down there, to get through these levels and this support, I don't think so. I mean, that's all a trade is looking at the charts and the information available to you, and then coming up with a bias or belief as to what you think is possible. So I don't think it would go down there this week. No. No, your choice whether, 40, again, you're saying 42.50, right? That's what I was there. I got this line down here. Look, I'll use the word impossible, and unless some crazy news happens, I would say it's not going down there. All right, let's take a look at the rest of the markets. NQ's rallying up into the resistance area. It's got a pretty nice retracement so far into the red bar. Stopped on support. We'll see what it does as it comes up here, if it begins to roll over. So if it begins to stall there, the factory work is going to the 5-minute and looking for that turning that begins to happen here, a break of a prior pivot low. And then does this turn into a red bar today? Or, it is down several days. So it wouldn't be unusual for it to just hold this area today, which makes the thinking about it from the point of view of, the S&Ps holding here, those levels down here, and you got the 50 MA in the way. I'm just looking at where it is in relation to, you got the 50 MA down there. And so, what the levels that I mentioned, 43.95 up to 44.05, you've got an unfilled gap, you got a 50 MA, you've got, open interest. And so we do our best to just pick, what's the safest area. And, from what I see, looking at what I've explained, this is the safest area. All right. Russell. Same story, trying to make a turn. This came down into a more significant support area. And so what I want to see, right, is a little more backing and filling here. So regardless of what we're looking at, whether it's futures or I was looking at XYZ coming down over multiple days after a strong move up, having 2 or 3 days of stabilization where the hourly chart bases out, right? We've discussed this in the green room many times and looked at examples, that little bit of stabilization, and then just look for a wide range bar coming off of the low, either on the 5 or you could be looking at the 15, but a move down. Now we look for, the information that supports the turn. So we've got a little type of double bottom here, right? But that's the beginning of the stabilization. A little more of a base and an igniting bar, and we look for it to go up. Not as much data, gapping around 224-ish. Yeah, so nice size gap up into the red bar, but obviously into price resistance. Yeah, Dave. I don't know if it's not locking up on you, on your IB. I guess I don't know what triggered it on mine, but I don't know if you just have Explorer on there, whether the daily information will fill in. Not that it's all that necessary. But for a loss of what to do, I said, let me eliminate Chrome and see what happened. And then lo and behold, everything worked. All right, Dow. Now these are the futures, but if we look at, we can see, I don't usually have the 100 on here, but this stopped right on the 100 MA. It was right there. And there was nothing to the left, but it's the idea of self-fulfilling prophecies. Widely followed moving averages and institutions. These are the widely followed moving averages, simple variety, 20, 50, 100, and the 200, which I don't know, it's way down there and it's so far away, but the 100 is right there. So this suffered the worst. It broke through these pivot lows and, wide range bar after multiple move down, look for stabilization. We'll see how far it gets. Looking at the diamonds. 349, nice size gap, and 350 bucks up into the same resistance. Not going to be, hey, a gap and go. I don't think so here at the open. As always, we wait 5 minutes at least. Now, gap trades, that's another subject, but gap trades, if you understand gaps and the gap course method that we use, sometimes a 2-minute time frame is just fine. Cryptos down a little bit, nice move up. Bitcoin, pulling into support here. Had that nasty reversal. Last week we talked about, could this stabilize enough and then take out the highs on the hourly chart? Well, that didn't happen, and it couldn't get up. So we'll see. It's a stay away for now. Crude oil, showing additional strength, and I think I mentioned on Friday. I know we mentioned it in the room. XPO, which was holding up the best of the ETFs. And we actually have this in the ETF trader as a buy above this red bar. So oil moving up, this is the one showing relative strength. This just might get going. And of course, take a look at oil stocks. Gold, it's just a mess. Was trying to get through that resistance. It couldn't do it. So that might open up the door for a move down here. See what the dollar is doing. Stabilizing. And silver. Yeah, it has to be going down. There's a nice pivot right there. And we will be watching for what are these transports going to do. Right. So the ETF is sitting on the 200 on the bottom here. I think I have. Sorry. The different different platforms use different symbols. So this is well off the 200. The ETF has a lot of other stocks that the transportation index doesn't have. Obviously, it's been weaker. So this is at the bottom. And as far as the bull market scenario goes, or the continuation of the uptrend, we'd like to see the transport turn around. If they continue to dive, it's not going to be a good sign for the broader markets. And interest rates aren't doing much of anything here this morning, but down a little bit. So plenty more to keep an eye on as this market goes through its jitters until we get something going, which I would say the end of on Thursday, that monthly expiration with all those open interests are going to, and it's interesting, and McGraw, we can discuss this in the room, how both sides of different levels are pegged, meaning or pinned, where they're almost the same amount of open interest for puts and calls. So it could be a real battle at those levels as things whip back and forth. So it was going to be interesting to see how this week unfolds. All yours, Dan.
Good morning. Yeah, I'll be chilling here at the open as I typically do on Mondays. Got a 30-minute high or low, I think, will be my day trade bias. Swings, as long as you know that the drill, as long as we don't retrace more than 50%, then I'm still looking for continuation patterns, sell setups, etc. But the big gap, which I was kind of surprised in light of some of the news things, it's all over the Wall Street Journal, the Dems now pushing higher taxes. But we knew that was coming, so I guess that's why there's no surprise there. Still fighting over the $3.5 trillion stimulus bill. Manchin said he's not going to support it. White Castle, Triple M, both again reiterating inflation is not transitory. Like, duh. I think I think most normal people knew them. Our opens here, I don't have a single alarm going off, up or down, and that's for open trades or the weekend trades. Usually I got a bunch of alarms here. I'm having to manage a market open. But what that tells me is that's fine, because if the shorts hit, then it's negating the bullish gap up. So they're totally fine. There's not many earnings at all. A couple little gappers here. Yeah, that's funny. That's possible, but I doubt it. Unless you prove me wrong, tell me, show me one, and then I'll go checking. I don't know if this is a bio, but I think there's a very high chance when you see something 50% gap down. So that's triple M. And we noticed this one, like Greg mentioned it when this thing was tanking last week. Of the Dow stocks, triple M's down $1, and Nike down $1.50. And that's it. You got mixed time frames, sell set up on the daily, but a buy set up on the weekly. A couple of these Reddit stocks, I'm seeing some pre-market bids. Here you go. Look at AMC. That's a beautiful gap, beautiful consolidation. That looks really good. That's one of the better things I've seen this morning. I might have it here in the bottom window. So this is what I call a tier 1. If the market continues strong, we'll wait 5-10 minutes, whatever. As long as this holds strong and doesn't either rally too much or get destroyed, this pre-market bullishness. That looks great. Blue. Big gap up, but that's chasing now. GME, another Reddit boy toy. Not nearly as bullish as AMC, but I actually have this as a put spread over Friday's high. Thursday, gap negated, 1, 2, 3, put spread. SRPT, this is another little Reddit stock, but I don't see anything right now. I typed this one in error when I was trying to type that SPRT, and I typed SRPT, and look at this beautiful thing. Look, that is a beautiful, beautiful bottoming pattern on the weekly chart. We've done that MT live on bottoming patterns. That is a beautiful one. New low, bullish divergence, the wide range bar going sideways for 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 weeks. Yeah, that's going to be a little roadblock, but I think it can get through that. So target 100 to 110. The only problem is it's a buyer. RB, BTNB. Thomas, 1, 2, 3. It's technically not a 1, 2, 3 just because the tail is too big, and it's too messy for me, and it's also light volume. I don't like the 15-minute spotty chart, but you could buy Thursday's high, stop on Friday's low if you are so inclined. But it's not my wheelhouse of the 1, 2, 3. Thomas asking about Mighty Mo. It's too far from the 20 for me, although the monthly, I think you emailed me this already, Thomas. And I said I love the monthly. But the daily, where's your stop? There's no support here because of the way it went up vertical. If it hits 2x of credit at the open, could you use 30-minute like a normal stop? If it's gapping, yes. But yeah, I don't do anything at the open. Because particularly, Sebastian, options are spreadier. So yes, do not take a stop loss at the open on stocks or options. All right, so that was SRPT. Looked fantastic. I don't know what this stock does, but it's been on a wild ride. RSKD, recent IPO, gapping down. We'll keep an eye on it, see if it stabilizes. Ater, I know this was another Reddit boy toy. Holding well, but I still like the pattern of AMC better. Why? Because it's closer to support, whereas that one's up 4 bars and gapping up. Oh, this had earnings, SEAC. Oh, it's sloppy, kind of like that other one we just looked at. But if, I don't know, the trade would be Friday's high, stop Friday's low if you're so inclined. Shack, I saw this going by the ticker, was gapping up a little bit. But this is a beautiful, beautiful daily short. If it's, I'll put it in the window, a thumbnail. If it, whatever the gap up was, it shows here up $1.28, but I don't see any prints. But let's say it is gapping up $1.28. That would be beautiful. To then 30-minute low, I mean, after 30 minutes, short Friday's low. That's a beautiful wide range closing breakdown. You have 2 upside shakeouts. Hey, thing, my alarms are working because the Roku alarm just went off under 328. So that's my first one. There was some mention of Sam in Barron's, but look at the weekly. It's a climactic buy setup. So, and Thursday, it's not a full gap reversal, but at least it was bought and didn't get, so it's stabilized on increasing volume. So let's keep an eye on that. Net, if it can take out Thursday's high, I like that. Clack, beautiful engulfing bar from support on Thursday. If I'm gonna watch this on a pullback, that would be a put spread watch. Just want to see how far it retraces and how it reverses. So these are just some scans from my weekend research. Wide range breakdown, IBM. So that under Friday's low, I like as a short. How badly damaged? I don't think it's badly damaged. Yeah, it had a breakout failure, and yeah, it's a deep retracement. But it's on a Yala alarm, but it's on support. Wow, tick almost 1,600. Man. Tosh alarm. So now I'll have to go through these and watch them. The weekly though, the weekly's a bear 180 reversal at all-time highs, but it's still on support. So when you say badly damaged, I have a hard time answering that. All right, pay C alarm. These are all new ideas. They're not opens. Bottom right, AMC popping. That's my favorite day trade long so far. I just don't trade at 931, particularly with a big gap to resistance here, but that looks great. That's the best looking day trade so far. Not a good swing trade because, you know, it's up a couple bars, but I love the pre-market gap and going sideways at Friday's high. All right, Posh 5-minute low is a go. Same Yala. Roku is a call spread. Pay C, these are all fine, 5-minute lows. Let me text